Hi everyone, Patricia Warby, Alchemy Therapies. Good morning or afternoon or evening, depending on what time zone you're in. It's morning here. So part 3 in my ongoing journey through anxiety. Now, for those of you who haven't watched numbers 1 and 2, just a brief recap of how I got to this point. I've had anxiety before in my life. I thought I'd overcome it, but certainly have been triggering me. I've started having acupuncture for hormonal irregularities. I've got low thyroid and I'm going through menopause, which is pretty tough for some women and seems to be keeping me awake at night because I'm the most unusual effect. It is working on the hormones, but of course, because all your hormones are linked, I started to get really, really gripping anxiety that seemed to emanate from my guts, absolutely clenched. And this was very frightening because I thought I'd overcome anxiety years ago when I, did some emotional healing and sorted out my diet and made sure I'm in the right place at the right time. And here it is again. So the last 2 sessions I've been talking about, how it felt, what it felt like, and kind of the mind-body correlation there, because it's anxiety isn't merely felt in the head, it's actually felt in the body, like all emotion, really. But I wanted to update you today with a new development, which is I woke up this morning expecting the usual wave because it tends to go with your cortisol cycle, your circadian rhythm. As soon as light hits the back of your eye, that triggers your circadian rhythm and you get a burst of cortisol, usually, sometimes adrenaline as well, to get you moving. And if you are out of balance, there's not enough cortisol, usually more adrenaline, and you start to feel really anxious. So usually around 6:30, 6:45 when I wake, light hitting my eye stimulates this, what I feel like as a wave. It is like a wave. It's like you're carried by it. It's almost like surfing a wave, an internal wave of anxiety. And I waited for it because it's usually pretty regular. And it didn't happen. And actually, then I remembered last night lying awake at 3 a.m. I'm often awake at 3 a.m., sweaty, horrible. Thinking, I don't feel anxious. And a part of me wanted to just lie there and luxuriate in that feeling because it's like a gift when you don't feel anxious. Any of you have ever had anxiety, and there are lots of people living with it chronically. It wrecks your quality of life. I mean, you can function just about, you can go through the motions, you look to all intents and purposes a normal human being, but you just don't feel right. And to not have it is like a gift of the most incredible kind, and you think to yourself, I can do anything now. And it was kind of like that. It was a wave of euphoria. Now, I have to be honest with you, it's niggling a little now, but it hasn't quite broken yet, if using that wave analogy. So I think I'm going to be okay today. I think I'm going to have a better day than I had yesterday, than the day before, and so on. What's different, I think, I took some adrenal support yesterday. I have been doing on and off, but I haven't done it consistently. Yesterday, I took 2 adrenal support tablets, which were vitamin C and a few other things. And I also took 1 tablet of thyroid, natural desiccated thyroid, which again, I've been taking. Today I thought, that might be the combination that I needed. And so I'm going to repeat what I did yesterday and see if it helps. With regard to the acupuncture, I'm going for another treatment today. And I know I'm going to have different herbs today. So there's going to be a shift. Natural medicine doesn't work like conventional medicine. It doesn't sort of suppress symptoms. It works with your body's natural flow. And therefore, sometimes you get worse before you get better. And you often have to go what's called the healing crisis in order to come out the other side. But, through all of this, which has been horrible, there have been some upsides. So just to list those, I've lost about 8 pounds without trying. I'm still overweight, actually, as it happens. Not that I'm, body dysmorphic or anything. I recognize that to most of you, you wouldn't think she's fat or anything, but I am slightly overweight. I've been putting weight on around the middle for about 4 years, gradually creeping up, about 10, 12% over what my ideal body weight would be and what I've always been. So I've come back down a little bit. And the other thing I've noticed is my Raynauds, which is basically where the tip of your fingers goes white in cold or stress situations, hasn't happened. And there have been some very cold mornings where I've gone out and would have expected after a shower, for instance. I used to always get it reliably, where my fingers, well, just this one in me, just goes numb and white, loses the blood flow. Now, Raynauds is it's autoimmune, but it's linked to toxicity. So there must be something happening in my liver for that to have gone, and also for this weight loss, which has been completely effortless. I haven't even, I just haven't felt like eating as much. It's true. My cravings have disappeared, and I'm just eating when I feel hungry rather than thinking I have to eat, and then I have to stuff myself with sugary things, which is kind of how I felt before. So there are some advantages to going through this, but it isn't easy, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone other than people who are really because it's difficult. But the other end of it, of course, will be that I'll have dealt with internally rebalancing my system. So I'll keep you posted on events after today, because obviously I'm going to go for another session later on. And I'm just trying to in harmony right now. So lots of rest, because I'm not sleeping at night. I'm making up for that by sleeping when I can, and having naps during the day. Well, one nap usually after lunch, and just generally trying to keep everything very simple, not taking on too much right now. I can actually feel an ache in my kidneys, which must be my adrenals, which are at the top of the kidney. And if I get too hot or too cold, I immediately go into a stress reaction. So keeping myself nice, ambient ease right now, I can tell you there are solutions that don't involve drugs. Okay, so hang on in there. You are going to heal, but you need to look at maybe widening your scope, look at the gut, improve rebalance your nervous system in any way you can. Just don't take on too much. Look at your emotions. What guilt or helplessness or fear or anger are you carrying? For me, there's a lot of guilt and there's a lot of helplessness. So definitely worth investigating with a therapist if you can, or at least writing it down. Writing it down has a huge effect on the brain. It sort of releases it from your body. So lots to learn. I just really hope this anxiety-free day continues, because the joy, I tell you, to not have it is magnificent and just wonderful. So thanks for listening. If you're interested in any of these subjects, natural medicine, emotional healing, that's what I do. Subscribe or go to my website, alchemytherapies.co.uk. Bye for now.